if you're looking at the LG UltraGear 45GR95QE-B, because you want the ultimate, immersive, competitive gaming monitor, you're not wrong to click this video. I've spent weeks testing this massive, aggressive, and wildly expensive 45-inch OLED beast to see if it delivers on its promises of cutting-edge performance. And for the most part, it absolutely does. The picture quality is a true spectacle. But here's what surprised me. After days of using it for everything from FPS marathons to productivity work, I actually started to resent it. That's a feeling you don't expect from a monitor this technologically impressive, and the reason comes down to a single, frustrating feature. For the best price, click the link in the description. /N//N, this is the deep, dark secret of the UltraGear 45GR95QE-B. It's a monitor that screams passion, a monument to pixels and performance. The 45-inch ultra-wide OLED panel, with its 240 Hz refresh rate and near-instantaneous response time, is a genuine marvel for immersion. It pulls you into the game world like almost nothing else. However, that immersion comes at a steep cost, and I'm not just talking about the $2,000 price tag. The contrarian snapback. This might be the most compromised, premium experience I've tested. Therefore, you need to know exactly what you're signing up for before you even think about entering your credit card number. /N//N. Now let's immediately give credit where it's due. The visual experience is breathtaking. The OLED panel delivers perfectly deep, inky blacks because each pixel turns off independently. In a dark room, playing a game like Alan Wake 2 or Hellblade 2, the contrast is so intense it almost feels three-dimensional. The colors pop with fantastic vibrancy thanks to LG's custom calibration. And with a native 3440x1440 resolution stretched across a 45-inch canvas, you get a field of view that is overwhelmingly wide. It's like getting a cinema screen for your desk. But here's the first major twist that starts to unravel the dream, that resolution. Because that is where we encounter our first colossal, but /N//N, when you do the math, the pixel density of this 3440x1440 image on a 45-inch screen is not great. It works out to about 83 pixels per inch. To put that in perspective, a standard 27-inch 1440p monitor is around 109 ppi. The result, the image isn't as sharp or crisp as you'd expect from a monitor in this price tier. Text clarity in Windows, browsing the web, reading documents, it all has a faint, fuzzy halo around it. It's not unusable, but for a product that costs as much as a high-end gaming PC, it feels like a compromise. It's like buying a Ferrari, but the interior is made of sandpaper. Therefore, if you plan on doing any serious work on this monitor, be prepared for some eye strain. /N//N, and that leads us to the curve. Oh, the curve. This monitor has an 800R curvature, which is very aggressive. Think less gentle arc, more half-pipe for your eyeballs. LG claims this wraps the game world around you, and in some titles it truly does. Racing games and flight sims feel incredible. The sense of speed and spatial awareness is unmatched. And it's a big but, this extreme curve makes straight lines look bent at the edges. UI elements in many games and applications appear warped. Editing a photo or video on this would be a geometric nightmare. It's a feature designed purely for consumption and immersion, not for creation. Therefore, unless your only job is playing games, the 45GR95QE-B is a deeply specialized tool. /N//N, let's dive into the gaming performance, which is where this monitor theoretically shines brightest. The combination of OLED's near-zero response time and a 240 Hz refresh rate means motion is blisteringly fluid and completely devoid of ghosting. In fast-paced shooters like Counter-Strike 2 or Apex Legends, tracking targets is buttery smooth. The input lag is imperceptible. You get the full suite of gaming features. NVIDIA G-Sync and AMD FreeSync Premium Pro for tier-free gameplay, a dedicated aiming reticle, black stabilizer, and multiple picture modes. It's a competitive gamer's dream on paper. However, remember that resolution. At this size and sitting at a normal desk distance, you can actually see the pixel grid if you look for it. That's not ideal for spotting distant enemies. It's like having the world's fastest sports car that can only drive on perfectly smooth glass roads. Therefore, the competitive edge it gives in motion clarity is slightly dulled by the lack of fine detail. /N now about the HDR performance. LG touts this monitor with its OLED technology and anti-glare coating as an HDR powerhouse. In supported games, highlights like explosions, sunlight, and neon signs have fantastic punch. The infinite contrast ratio makes dark scenes full of detail. The monitor is Display HDR True Black 400 certified, which is the highest tier for OLED. But here's the joke. Calling this a pinnacle HDR experience is like calling a go-kart a pinnacle of automotive engineering. It's great at one specific thing. The peak brightness is the real limitation. In a bright room, this monitor looks dim. Even in HDR, highlights are bright, but the overall scene isn't that luminous. It's a stunning, contrast-rich HDR that only works best in a pitch-black cave. Therefore, unless you're a vampire or do all your gaming at night with the blinds shut, you're not getting the full, dazzling HDR effect. /N let's talk about the design and ergonomics. It's a monolithic slab of black plastic and metal. The stand is huge, with a red ring at the base that screams gamer. It offers tilt, height, and swivel adjustment, which is good because you'll need to tweak it to find the sweet spot for that aggressive curve. The ports are sensible. 2 HDMI 2.1 ports, a DisplayPort 1.4, a headphone jack, and a USB hub. The on-screen menu controlled by a joystick on the back is LG's typical solid offering, but wouldn't you know it, there's another catch. This thing is a power hog and gets warm. After a long session, the top of the monitor emits a noticeable amount of heat. It's not dangerous, but it's like having a gentle space heater pointed at your forehead, great in winter, less so in July. Therefore, factor in your room's air conditioning bill to the total cost of ownership. /N I haven't even mentioned the software yet. LG's companion software, on-screen control, lets you manage picture settings and split the screen. It's fine, but the real story is the pixel cleaning and burn-in protection features. This is an OLED screen, and all OLEDs are susceptible to burn-in, permanent image retention from static elements like health bars, Windows taskbars, or news tickers. LG includes features like pixel shifting and a logo dimming algorithm to combat this. You have to run a manual pixel refresher every so often. It's a layer of anxiety and maintenance you simply don't have with an IPS or VA panel. You're babysitting a $2,000 display. Therefore, this isn't a set-it-and-forget-it purchase. You are now in charge of panel longevity, a job I didn't ask for, /N. So, we have a monitor that's stunning in motion but not super sharp. It's incredibly immersive but only for gaming. It has perfect blacks but can't get very bright. It's cutting edge but requires maintenance. The value proposition is becoming very shaky, but there's one more critical piece we need to land on, the aspect ratio. 21:9 ultrawide is fantastic for gaming and movies, but not all games support it natively. You'll encounter black bars or have to rely on community fixes. And for productivity, having that wide canvas is amazing for timelines or multiple windows side by side. However, the lack of sharpness and that aggressive curve make it a subpar work monitor. It's a paradox, a jack of one trade, master of none, but that one trade is incredibly niche. /N here's a joke to lighten the mood. Using this monitor for spreadsheets is like using a flamethrower to light a candle. Overpowered, impractical, and you'll probably burn your house down. The practicality just isn't there. It's built for a very specific fantasy. The hardcore gamer who has a separate monitor for work, who games only in a dark room, and who values fluid motion above all else, including crisp text. Are you that person? If you are, you might be willing to overlook the flaws. For everyone else, the compromises start to feel like deal breakers, especially when you consider the alternatives. /N, and that is the ultimate therefore of this review. When you look at the landscape in 2026, you can get a spectacular 34-inch OLED ultrawide that's sharper, brighter, and often cheaper. You can get a 4K 32-inch IPS monitor with high refresh rates for incredible detail. You can even get a massive 42-inch OLED TV that does double duty as a stunning living room display. The LG 45GR95QE-B exists in a no-man's land. It's too big and low resolution to be a sharp desktop monitor, yet not as versatile as a large-format TV. Its defining feature, the 45-inch 240Hz OLED panel, is also its biggest weakness. It's a technological flex that forgot to solve real-world problems. /N/N so, should you buy the LG UltraGear 45GR95QE-B? The answer is a resounding maybe, but probably not. If you are a sim racer or flight simmer with a dedicated rig and this is your pure gaming display, you might fall in love with the immersion. The motion clarity and contrast are truly special in that context. But for the vast majority of people, especially those who need a single monitor to do it all, game, work, create, this is a frustrating and compromised experience. You will notice the fuzziness. The curve will warp your applications, the brightness will disappoint you, and the price will haunt you. /N/N to put a final point on it, this monitor feels like a prototype. It's a brilliant showcase of what OLED and high refresh rates can do when pushed to an extreme form factor. But as a finished product you live with every day, the flaws are too central to the experience to ignore. It's the monitor equivalent of a supercar with no trunk space, and a suspension so stiff you feel every pebble on the road, thrilling in short bursts, punishing as a daily driver. Don't waste your money unless your use case is hyper-specific and you're fully aware of the trade-offs. For everyone else, your money is better spent on a more balanced, sharper, and frankly, more sensible display. And if, after all these warnings, you are still determined to see the current price for yourself, I've done the hard work for you. For the best price on Amazon, click the link in the description below.